Yeah, I think just going back to Saturday, we brought him in a high leverage spot, and he was in complete control of himself. Stuff's great. I mean, he's got a chance to have a great season. Most importantly, he's in command of himself and just out there executing pitches.
Sorry. I'm not sure there's a pitcher that's been talked about less than him since he came on board. Just how did you get him here, and just what attracted you?
Yeah, I think that's natural with the portal now. Some of those JC guys get lost, but assistant coach at his junior college, San Joaquin Delta, is a good friend of mine, and called me and said, "Hey, I got a guy, and I know what you have and what you're building there, but I got a guy, and you need to talk to him." And so I sent Josh out there, and he was like, "Coach, right now, like let's get this going." And so we were bringing him on a visit. He was actually on a visit at another school. I told this story the other day, and he committed to me on the phone while he was on a visit at another school. So I thought that was pretty cool. So just in the fall, I think we saw some good. He wasn't healthy; he had like a groin thing, but he's healthy now, and he's pitched good in the weeks leading up to it. Maybe even separated himself a little bit from some other guys in a good way, and he's going to pitch a lot for us.
Was there a lot of competition for his services?
Yes, yeah. He jumped on the radar pretty good, and some good programs. I just, with Coach Peters at Delta and Brian Condro, a friend of mine, like, just I've known them forever. Being out west, having those connections helped in this regard. And I mean, we were starting our ascent, to what we did last year, well before it happened, and we had some good momentum there, and it was just a good recruiting story about relationships, and we had a good visit here, and we're happy to get him.
3 competitive games. What do you think that the team put them in some tough spots? They were in some tough spots to fight out of. Would you get out of these 4 games?
I think for me, it's you can seemingly command their attention for improvement when you lose a game better than when you win a game. I thought we had their attention. We didn't need to lose a game to improve. And I think that is something I'm very happy about. I think that shows maturity in this team. I would say in the program, but it's a new team. It's a completely new team. So I think we have some good leadership. They're motivated. We have an approach to every game here that is unique, and I think they did a good job with that this weekend.
What are some things you could maybe work on next?
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot. I think we didn't do a good job against the reliever, and that's on me, because that's my responsibility. And it's the type of guy we normally do very well against. And the hitters that we specifically have on this team should do well against that guy, and we did not. So we'll get that ironed out. But for the most part, I mean, we played clean defense. We made 3 errors, and 2 of them were pitchers on pickoff moves. So other than that, we made 1 error in the field, and I thought it was a pretty great play to even get to the ball to have a chance to collect the out on the air. So really like the defense. And we're not a finished product. We're going to move guys in and out of the lineup. Maybe it's almost even tougher this year than it was last year because we got a lot of guys that are close that offer different things. I'm pleased with what I see as the depth of the position player group. And, so I think way more positive than not.
Just building on that a little bit, but maybe on the pitcher side, I'm sure you came in with one vision on how it's going to look, and that there's probably a bunch of different options now that you can consider going forward in terms of starters.
Yeah, we're
How good of a problem is that?
It's a great situation, in regards to that. I'm really confident with where we're going to land once all the pitching pieces are, in full mode. Probably more so coming out of the weekend than going into the weekend, to be honest with you. And that's a good thing. It's where we want to be. There's certainly things that we're going to do better from there, but I thought they were in control of themselves. Every coach is going to say they want them to throw more strikes. I don't see that as a problem. I think the pitching was far better than maybe the appearance on the stat sheet. That's how I would come away from this weekend.
What was the kind of thought process of not starting Clinton today?
Yeah, we just got like 12 guys that want to play, and I brought 5 of them into my office before. Josh Pearson was one of them who didn't play yesterday, who was a Omaha hero. Like, we wouldn't have that trophy sitting up there without Josh Pearson. And so we held him out yesterday for a very specific reason. And I literally looked at like 5 or 6 different guys, and it just was like Paxton made sense today. And for no other reason than I have to pick one of the next 5 games not to play him, and I just picked this one based on how we're going to do this right now. So he'll be in there Thursday. You can write that down.
I asked Jared if he felt like he had something to prove. 3 home runs in 4 games. Do you feel like he had something to prove at the plate?
Yeah, no, we don't get into that too much, or I try to help him not get into that too much, and grow mentally. But he's done a good job. I mean, facing that staff is not easy, over the fall and the spring, and we got some real improvement here in the last month. I mean, some real improvement in the last month, and even into the last week of the season, and or the last week leading up to the season. And I'm very proud of him, and I think off to a good start. It's not just the home runs; it's the pitches in between the home runs where I'm seeing some real growth.
Yeah, he said he worked on pitch selection a lot. Could you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, it's just that's our deal. I want that to be a separator for us. No matter where I coach, and it's hard sometimes to coach him because he gets pitched so differently than everybody else, and I mean that with it's hard because of how much talent he has, and I just think he's under control of himself, like we were talking about with Fidel. He's recognizing pitches early. There was a game the other day where I was like, hey, you were 1 pitch away from like a perfect game, and he kind of offered at a pitch that he got a check swing, strike 3. I was like, outside of that, we were 100% on swing decision. So it's just such a conscious effort, and he's got to be a little more selective of that guy. Like, you got to hit the mistake when you get it, and you got to anticipate it every pitch, knowing that they're not going to throw it there because it's a high-risk proposition to throw the ball over the plate to him.
Just one more. Then the other part is the defensive side. I mean, he's probably one of the best defensive first basemen ever. So
Yeah.
What's that been like as he's made that?
I think he's done a great job. I made a couple really nice picks. He's a big target. I like that the infielders, they have a big visual over there to throw, and he's taking a lot of pride in it. He knows there's a lot more value to him as a player for our team, and then where he wants to go in professional baseball if he can become a true first baseman. He has some good aptitude to catch, so but he's put a lot of pride in it. And I challenged him when he went home, like, my goal, and he broke the rule, my goal is for nobody to talk about how good a defensive player Trey Morgan was, even though we know Trey Morgan was the best defensive first baseman maybe in the history of baseball. It's like him and Mark Grace are tied for first. But, through this weekend, really high marks for him on that side of the ball.
I know you emphasized, getting hit by pitches. How are the guys dealing with that? They got hit a lot this weekend.
Well, I think it created a run in the first inning, and we won by 1 run. And so that's kind of the thought process behind it, and especially as you get into SEC play, postseason play, the margin between winning and losing is small, and most college baseball games are lost. They're not won, and we just want to put ourselves in position to just take advantage of teams losing games by not commanding the baseball.
What'd you like from Cade Anderson today?
I liked everything. Really high on him. Haven't put a lot out on him just to help him move into this thing naturally. But I think he's a future star. Going to pitch in the front of this thing, I'd have no problem throwing him in a postseason game today. And knew that going in. We didn't announce until today because you obviously saw how good he can be. If the game was in the balance yesterday, it's like you're gonna pitch yesterday. I like the elevation. I think he was at 70 pitches today. That was right on the mark for where I wanted him to be. He was at 60 last week, 3 1/3. So to get 4 innings or 2 more outs with 70 pitches, it's a good win, and I think we can really build from there.
You mentioned you've been kind of slow playing him a little bit, in part because of the injury, right? So how have you been able to get him up to 70 pitches over the last 5-6 months?
Yeah, I think we went 2 innings the first weekend of team practice, and then we went 3 the next week, and then it got to like 3 1/3 at like 60 pitches last week, and so we went from 30 to 45 to 60 to 75 would have been the limit. I liked how he finished. He struck out the last 2 guys that he faced, and I thought that was a good hey, let's put the jacket on, let everybody hug you and high five you, and get you ready for next week.
With the 4 games, that's the long series versus playing the midweek. How do you feel about that?
Well, I scheduled it, and don't know that I'd do it again. I think I'm going to give the whole staff no tournaments in 2020 at LSU
Right.
in 2025. But it's hard to get 56 games in 14 weeks. Like I got kind of in the sweet spot out at Arizona where we weren't playing a Pac-12 tournament. You have that extra week, so you never had to do stuff like this. But these guys want to play, so I think I owe it to them to try to get 56 games on the schedule. So they're all ready for the first weekend. You know, that's the thing that's good about it, and they're excited to play. So we're doing these 2 weekends, and then we fall into the normal college baseball. What I don't like is I don't like going like back-to-back 5-game weeks. Like I think that's important, and this kind of gives us a little bit of a bridge in how we have the pitching lined up for this week. Everybody will stay on track, and we'll be in a good spot.